where we talk about how could you integrate an Excel spreadsheet with an API or via an API. It is hard to find a right headline for this. So what I'm going to do is I will introduce you in a real customer case, and then we take it from there and show you a demo. The usual stuff is, yeah, you get the documents, you get the link with the recordings, and if you have questions, we try to pick it up and answer it during our presentation. If you would like to provide a feedback, we would highly appreciate that. Thanks. This is Ed, this is me. Pretty easy, he looks better than me, so I have the honor to start, and then Ed will take over. He's doing the demo, and I will promise you I will not take a lot of slides. We are more interested in showing you how it works, what can you do in this scenario, instead of flooding you with slideware. Let me talk about a customer of us, which is Rotterdam Harbor. Rotterdam Harbor is huge, biggest harbor in Europe. And the business of this unit is to take care that containers from a ship will finally arrive at companies and vice versa. That's the core business, what they do. Logistics, to take care that companies receive their goods transported by a container via a vessel, and the other way around. So they have different services. We can deliver the container via ships on a river, via rail, via trucks, whatever. That's what they do, a kind of broker in between. So based on this core business, what they have done is pretty simple. They have customers that request so-called sailing. Yeah, I would like to have a sailing to Singapore. Please, what can you offer? When can you pick it up, etc. pp. And they have providers, the guys that are finally going to Singapore, running the vessel, yeah, and they are connecting them, making the business that the complete contract is fulfilled. Yeah, I pick up the container, and you can be sure that it will finally arrive in Singapore. Great. And as you see, I was laughing 2 hours ago when we had the German session. It is a shame that we still name the word fax, but still today it is a little portion of people that fax, asking for quotes, asking for availability, set an order by phone, fax, email, which means you can only do that between 9 to 5. This is our office hours, but the business hours of the customers is 24/7, because you need this colleague on the right-hand side that then finally keys stuff into the backend. We know this. Of course, they also have interaction with providers, but for the sake of easiness, we take that out for a minute. So surprise, surprise, with using EDI or EDI type integration, at least they have been able that their customers could send requests for quotes, could send whatever, or receiving invoices 24/7. But it has disadvantages. On the one hand side, their customers need to implement the processes. On the other side, they are coming more and more to the point that their customers are saying, it takes too long. Yeah, if I ask you for a quote, yeah, could be that I do not get the information. EDI is send it and wait that you happily get a feedback. It's asynchronous. So they are saying modern times require more accurate, to the point information. And what they did, they implemented the possibility to communicate with them via an API. That customers are generally enabled to call the API to get a quote, to call the API to get availability, they call it sailings, or finally to book a specific offered sailing. So that's a good thing. You can also provide track and trace, and it is clear and obvious that the customer or a representative of the customer, if this API is called, they could get this information in real time, accurate information to the point. Cool. Very nice, very cool, very easy. They have implemented a portal for the customers where customers can get all information, and they can also book an API. But let's be honest, on the left-hand side, we have business people, not IT people. So Martin, who was doing that project with us, and he was the responsible at Rotterdam Harbor, he was saying, now, just providing an API, as cool as it could be, and as interesting the information it provides could be, just to build it and wait that they will come and use it, this does not work. And this sentence is really famous in the world of API, because a lot of customers or a lot of companies have invested a lot of money because they were driven by the marketing idea, oh, everybody's providing APIs, we have to do the same. That our customers get better information, better services, and so on. But what will happen? Nothing. The APIs will not be used. So why that? Why is this the case? And it's pretty simple. Martin said, and we know, if I ask today the question, how many people and units in our organization will benefit from EDI type integration? Everybody was saying, oh, good question. Sales, logistics, I don't know, and my partner side. So a hell of people, nobody's asking this question anymore. But if you ask who will benefit from up-to-date information about available sailings in this case, it is only a small group of people, because it's these people that are required to make a business decision based on accurate information. So let it be 2, let it be 3, let it be 5. And they are saying, I can phone Rotterdam Harbor, I can wait that an EDI message is sent out and someday I get a feedback, but that's too late. So what these people have is a high interest in accurate information, but they are only a small group. So they will not find somebody in IT who will help them to use the API that they have to integrate this information to the spot in their own system. So Martin came to a brilliant idea. What is the easiest and robust thing that would work? Provide this API integration not in their system, but in an Excel spreadsheet that we will send them. And I Googled it, or I used ChatGPT, and it says it's roughly estimated that 1 out of 10 people in the world can use Excel. It's a lot. Maybe the number is wrong, but we all know Excel is, I call it, the most common and the most widespread business application, because everybody can use it. So this is the idea. On the left-hand side, there is my internal system and apps. I have a SEEBURGER API solution in between. And if I offer access to an API on the SEEBURGER API gateway, it still requires on the right-hand side the integration of the API in internal systems, which means this is an IT project. And as said, maybe you are not the first on the list to get resources, but you are basically interested in the information. So why not using Excel just to have in a consumable way the information the API provides? Cool idea. And as I'm saying in the headline, this is easy, fast, robust, probably not perfect, because perfect is the integration on the right-hand side, but I have a lot of benefits by doing this because I can start immediately to make the counterpart on the customer side happy. And this raised my interest because I do not know if a lot of you know Clarkson's Farm, which is running on Amazon. But the story is that an old man, and some colleagues say there's some similarities between this guy and me. An old man thinks he learned something and he can make a thing. So I am not a technician. I'm not an expert. This is Ed. So I became curious and I thought by myself, oh, what I know is that there is a public API which is easily to be connected. And I would like to try it out. So I have prepared here an Excel spreadsheet called Scratch. And I'm really sorry that this is now popping up in an Excel in German, but it also helps to find out how this works on a German Excel. So in Excel, we have data. And then we have data from the web. And if I click on that, nothing will happen. But finally, yeah, this is where I can use the URL. And as you get the recording, yeah, this is the reason why I do it, because then you can repeat. So I have no idea about APIs. I know nothing, yeah, but I know Excel and I know that I can grab data from the web. Whoops. I found here services, Nordwind, okay, namespace stuff, workspace stuff, loaded. Oha. I would like to have a query. I will work on that. So now this Power Query opens. And I said I would like to have a new source, other source, OData feed. And I'm showing you that you can make it step by step in your Excel, making the same experience. Maybe it's not the most clever way, but as said, let me say, I'm not really experienced. But now all of the sudden with using this OData thing, I have access to information which is provided by this API. Aha. It is old data, fair enough, but what I have done without knowing it, I have integrated an API in Excel. And I could say, all right, I would like to have it sorted. I could take away some of the columns. Yeah, I could fine tune it to my needs. And then it will appear in Excel. This is cool because it fits the purpose. Very easy. And I have done that just to avoid that I make too much mistakes during a live demo, where I simply enough, yeah, have used exactly what I did here. And I decided, where is it? Shall we open? So let me go back here. I would like to have this Excel sheet just to show you. I have to close this. Otherwise it will not open the other Excel sheet. Now it does. Yeah. So I have prepared this, yeah, and just to make it a little bit more nice, this is automated formatting. So I said, I can now ask for the alphabetical list of products. I can grab a list of orders, I can grab a list of invoices, and here I manipulated a little bit the query because I reduced the number of columns. And just to tell you, you can also configure it. Yeah, you play a little bit around, then you can say, oh, please update this Excel every time I open the file. Or please update this information every couple of seconds, minutes, whatever. This is very cool, and this is exactly coming back to the idea of Rotterdam Harbor, what they would like to achieve. Provide a simple way to access accurate data in real time. So coming back to our storyline, this old man was really, really happy because, wow, I made a thing. I made it. And you can try it by yourself. That's cool. And then I have my friend Jan Cornet from the Netherlands. And I tried to tell him what I have achieved. And he was just looking at me and saying, nice try, but I will take over. And a day later, he sent me an email. Watch this. Yeah. And he said, quick and dirty work. Just, he was saying, I have not taken too much time to make it nice looking, but use this Excel sheet and tell me what you think about it. And I have to admit, he did a better job what I did, and he made it in one day. So what he provided to me was this Excel spreadsheet, and I see on request I can call and get a price list. You have seen my Excel table. My own thing was a little bit static, table after table, and here, oh, it offers me several possibilities. And he was saying quick and dirty because this could be nicer. But let me say, I'm a customer and I now have my price list with latest prices. And then I'm saying, I'm here interested in this product ID 104, and I would like to have details about 104. So I put in here 104, get product details. Because for whatever reason, I'm really interested in this product. And then I learn that this is available for that price, and it's available in this amount at the warehouse in Stockholm. And now on my side, I can make a business decision. I can say, I got it. I know it's available. I know the price. I will make it. So in a kind of self-service, but provided in an Excel spreadsheet, my customer can get in self-service information via the simple use of an Excel spreadsheet. Of course, it would be nice and perfect if he would have this kind of functionality in his business application, whatever this is. But on the side of the customer, the only thing what he needs is accurate, up-to-date information to make a business decision on the spot. And this is what we provide here. This is not EDI. This is real-time business. Very, very simple and easy. And just to tell you, not fake, we built up this prototype from nothing to this result within a day, 8 hours. And Jan created some database table with this fake data, randomly created data. He created the API description, connected the API with the backend, and published the API on the SEEBURGER API gateway. this is what he did. And to make me happy, he also created in this time some macros, some VBA code within Excel to make it possible for me to have the simple business application. As simple as it is. This is the achievement of a day from the scratch. And it was hard for me to say and to admit, but I said, chapeau. So from my try and find out, what Jan has achieved is brilliant, because within a day, I could provide an API. I could send to the counterpart the Excel spreadsheet. I can say, oh, we have designed something. You ask us to get accurate information. Is that what you need? And then the other side can use it immediately and can test it and can say, get product details is okay, but I would like to have in the product details also packaging information or weight or measurement for whatever reason. And then we can say, thank you very much. Before we have invested a lot of time, we can follow up your wish. We can expand this API and provide also measurement. It's easy. Yeah. You will have it done within an hour, and then you can press get stock list again or get product details again, and you will see the measurement. And let us know if you are happy. Wow. And so to make this happen, the story we would like to tell you today is, Ed, could you please tell us what has to be done on the side of a SEEBURGER customer, an API provider, that you make me, Thomas, enabled to use this Excel spreadsheet? Having said that, I forward to Ed. He will share his screen and we'll take it from here.
Okay. Thomas, are you seeing the Biz API management?
I do.
Okay. So yeah, so up to this point, we've seen all Excel, and I'm sure some people are probably asking, well, what does that mean on the other end? What's going on? And Thomas referenced the macros in the Excel that are making the API calls. I'm sure many skeptical people are saying, well, wow, you could, with that kind of access, you could do a number of things to cripple the system that is sending that information, and that's where API management comes in. We want to be able to expose that information, but we don't necessarily want to expose too much, and we want to be careful about how it can be accessed. So on the API side, well, let me back up very quickly. Well, I'll go directly to the API. So what we did, we have two versions of this, and I'll show some different features that we used in each version. But what Jan did when he created the Excel and he created the API, all he did, and we won't dwell on this too much, but he asked a series of questions of ChatGPT about how would I structure an API that has stock and availability, and so that I can query these different fields. And ChatGPT produced the code, and then he said, place that into a file for me so that I can upload an API. And that's exactly what he did to create this. And as you can see, what we do in API management for SEEBURGER is that we distinguish between backend APIs and API products. And think of an API product as simply a subset of a backend API, meaning you might not want to expose all of the functionality of an entire backend API. You might only want to expose certain pieces of it. And so if I look at my backend APIs, we have the office supply management. And this contains all resources that the API is capable of doing. So if I...
It's the maximum what the API would be able to show, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so you can do things like delete or post new items. Now, you wouldn't want all of your end users to be able to do that. And so if I look at the product that I created out of that, then there you see the API description is only the gets.
Yeah.
And so that's the first way that we prevent, unauthorized use is kind of a read-only. The product is the read-only version of the API. And so furthermore, we want to be able to then put other controls on that API. So under our policies, you can see you can put policies at any level. And so you could put a policy here that applies to the entire API. That might be something like authorization. Who's allowed to use it? Can anybody who has the spreadsheet use it, or are you going to approve users? I've used an example here at the product list level. If you do the operation get, which Thomas showed in the spreadsheet, I have created a policy for rate limit that says I only want to allow somebody to make 3 calls in a minute. And after that, they need to pause for a little bit. So if your toddler got on your keyboard and liked the get product list button and hit it over and over and over and over again, it would only happen 3 times with this particular policy. And so if I were to go out to my API and say get price list, it gives me the list, and then I say I want to get it again, and I get it again and again.
So I hope you're now failing, and you do. Yeah.
So the third time, I'm hit by my rate limit that says, oh, you're going to have to take a timeout before you start hitting our database again to get any price list information. Now, I could go and get the stock list, or because I haven't put any limits on that. So again, just one example of utilizing the tools within the API management to create policies, and I can create those at the high level or down at the individual level. Certainly, I probably wouldn't need a policy for just a single product listing, but for purposes of if you had a massive list, you might not want people hitting that time and time again.
It protects your back end, yeah, because if you have multiple people where you provide the API and they all start, as you said, they don't have to be a toddler. It's good enough to be a German, yeah. So you can also configure Excel, yeah. Please, after a call, repeat it, yeah. Just that I have the accurate information, which is not required, definitely, yeah. So you protect your backend system that nobody's overflooding your IT infrastructure. And you do that with a clone, a stripped down clone of the huge API that would allow you to do anything. Yeah. So a stripped down thing that is just for the purpose for external partners. Cool.
Exactly. So another flavor of that, you see here, I've opened a different version of the same API, but in this one we've done a limit of 60 calls per minute. But more importantly, on this one, we have added authentication as a policy. And so in this case, you might ask, well, if you shared this spreadsheet with 100 people, then they could all potentially be hitting this API. Well, no, in this case, we've said, no, we're gonna add an authentication step there. And that person is gonna have the authority to make calls to the API. And in so doing, they're gonna have to register, and so we're going to put some control around, even though they have the spreadsheet, can they use it? And we're doing this in this case with an API key. There are different ways you could have basic authentication, give them a username, password, but in this case, we're going to issue them a token for authorization. And in that case, I've got a different version, but this one contains embedded in the calls that are done here is the ability to use a token that we issue them. And so without the token, if I say get price list, it says failed to receive data. So I would then go to the guy that issued me this and say, I need to register. It's not giving me what I want. And he would then issue me a token. And I've kind of like pulling the fully cooked turkey out of the oven. I got my token, and I drop that in here, and the macros read that token. And so now when I say get price list, it returns for me the entire list. And so again, very simple in terms of concepts, but this is where things like that are controlled. So I have some fairly sophisticated ability to handle the technical backside on how I'm controlling access to that API, even though I've issued a very easy to use front side in the form of an Excel spreadsheet. And as you can see here, I have lots of variability. We won't get into all of the different settings related to each of these policies, but these policies could be based on different criteria for checking the rate limit, or different criteria for checking any of the other settings in the system. Another concept, which I believe our Rotterdam Harbor friends are using, is the concept of a quota.
Yeah.
And so what we do here is we can create profiles of how we want to structure this quota. And this goes to the concept of potential monetization of an API. And again, all of these concepts on the API management side apply whether we're talking about an Excel spreadsheet calling the API, or it could be a system, another system calling the API. Doesn't really matter. We're using this example to illustrate that it can be very simple on the front side, and you can still apply the same sophistication on the back side. So in this case, we're saying, hey, we're going to give you this spreadsheet, and you can call it 1,000 times for free. Maybe you won't need that much. And so if you look at the free profile, maybe I'll just step in there. You can see the details here that says, yeah, this grants you the ability to call 1,000 times per month, and for that there's no fee, right? But we could also select the charge profile, in which case this is saying, this is a charge profile. It will grant you 10,000 calls in a month. And for that, we're going to link to your account and bill you 50 euros for that service. So again, the ability here to monetize, if these are services that are of value that can be charged for, then there's the ability to track that. And with regard to tracking, You can leverage, as you see here, the API monitor, and we can see here in the API monitor what we have done just in the last few minutes, 4:30 European time, which is where this system is sitting. But you can see here that we have made some successful calls. We had a couple of errors where we didn't have proper authorization, and then we had our final successful call there. So the ability to monitor the system from the back end, as well as linking that to say your billing system to count who made the call, you know, what resource was called, when was it called, what was the traffic through the API. All of this can be tracked through the API monitoring capability. So
Can you update the monitor, because the toddler clicked 2 times?
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, here, the refresh.
There we go.
The toddler at 4:37. Yeah? Yeah. Cool. Because that's exactly then what you see. Yeah? As we are using the same API with the same authorization, whatever. Yeah, it is here. We are not distinguished, but you can see that I have called product single, and I did. And before that, I get the complete product list, and I did. Yeah. But the cool thing about this is on the side of Ed. But on the side of Thomas, the business side that is interested in the information, they do not have to bother with API description. The topic of RHH is, so now we have implemented these APIs. Cool. Now our salespeople go to our customers and saying, we have made it possible, you can get real-time data. And the solution is API. So this is 2 ice bears are talking about a palm tree. They do not understand. Yeah, the salesperson from RHH can tell we have provided an API, and the business counterpart, the logistic manager, is saying how great and what now. Oh, your IT people could go there on our portal, Yeah, phew. Not nice, the story. Nice is, you know what? Look in your email inbox. You will find an Excel spreadsheet. Please click on it and use this kind of functionality. You will understand it. Get price list, get stock list, whatever. Yeah, could be different. And now Ice Bear is talking with Ice Bear about ice. They understand each other. Oh, I know exactly what you mean. This is pretty cool and easy. This is to the point. It is easy. I understand it. It's robust. Yeah, thank you very much. And maybe after a while, he says, this is so good. Now I would like to have it in my system. But in that moment, you can provide the information and access the information immediately. No need for IT. And the need for IT, in this case, Ed, was a day in our case. We have achieved the complete result in a day. That's cool. And if there's an unhappy customers, oh, yeah, complaining, oh, you're not providing me this, or whatever it is, yeah, it is easy to make them happy. And if the guy is saying, yeah, thanks for the information, but I would like to have more or less, then think about the backend API and the product, the clone. Then Ed goes there and said, what? He would like to have measurement. Okay. We also provide measurement in the clone for the outside. But why to provide a huge API that nobody understands? It's completely overwhelming. Why that? Makes no sense. Start low, iterate, but you make people happy from the early beginning. Start easy but robust, and start immediately. Sorry, Ed, but this was when I was discussing with RHH, and this was so exciting me. Yeah, that's cool, pragmatic, to the point, straightforward. Yeah, using technology on your side to make me happy in a very, very easy way that I can easily understand and consume. And I was a little bit, let me say, unhappy when I have seen what Jan Koné created in one day, because also this Excel macro, yeah, you have seen what I did with my query thing, yeah, click, click, click. Yeah, Jan is a little bit more advanced than me, a little bit is a little bit a lot. And so he easily created VBA code also using ChatGPT, yeah? So he did it in a day, the complete thing, the random data, API description. Who of us knows how to design an API? None of us is doing that every day. Even I can do it. Please design me an API which is very secure, which is transparent, gives a lot of information. Have you seen the return codes? And have you seen that some return codes have a very good explanation what it is? We all know that we have return codes and nobody understands it. And ChatGPT is saying, oh, return code 1234 means this and that. And we are too lazy. We are not doing this boring things. Oh yeah, provide text. Yeah. But this business guy on the other side, he's happy to see, oh, you're not authorized to access this information. At least I have a reason and I do not have cryptic code. All that kind of stuff, easy, easy. And then he said, now the API is done. Cool. Please create a YAML file and I can upload it in the catalog of the SEEBURGER API management and I can start.
Yeah, and so Thomas, if we can just see very quickly the conversation with ChatGPT. I won't go through the whole thing, but Jan asked very simple questions about what would an API look like that had stock in a warehouse, and it said, well, you would have all these different types of calls in the API, and then he said, create an API definition file for that. And so ChatGPT came back and said, this is how you would define it in YAML. And then he, at the very end of the conversation, after ChatGPT told him all this interesting information, then he made a couple of adjustments, give it to me in YAML, and changed the path parameters. And it said, okay, here's your file, right? And this is the exact file that we can then take and go to the API manager, and I can say add an API and upload, and I take the file that ChatGPT gives me and I saved it there as my YAML file, and it uploads it, and I say next and finish, and whoops. Oh, it already exists.
It already exists, which is fine, which is okay.
So,
yeah.
But anyway, that is really the process that was used for the quote development of the API.
So let me say a personal message. My respect to my colleagues is now not that they are able to scribble a complex API. My respect is that they are so clever to use something like ChatGPT that helps them to achieve a specific objective. And they do get released from scribbling down by themselves and doing this, doing that. Yeah, this was so easy and on a high level of quality, probably on a higher level of quality they would have achieved, although they are experts. Yeah. Because it was well defined, well documented, nicely to see, and we could use it immediately. Very, very impressive. So you don't have to be an expert, you just have to know what you want. Your expertise is not scribbling an API in an API design tool. It is tell me exactly what you want. AI is you get what you wish. And you can tell and you will get it. And then you can use it. And you are successful, fast, easy, everybody happy. I have not seen any disadvantage of this. Speedy thing. So thanks a lot, Ed.
Yep.
This is what we would like to show you. I hope you have enjoyed. I hope this can also, you can transfer this in what does that mean for my business? What does that mean? What kind of people can I make happy with that? This is a simple thing to do it. This is a different MTE, so we try to tell you a story and then we show it on the product, yeah, what to do, how to make it happen. And hopefully we manage to convince you that it is very easy, and it is. Having said that, I just would like to tell you that